I have a question for you. What if I told you that the only thing holding you back from being an artist has nothing to do with the formal art education or even the way you draw? Today I'm going to demystify some art myths that have secretly been holding you back from reaching your full potential. And by the end of this video, you'll realize that you do not need permission to call yourself an artist. And so let's get into it. What are some of the lies, if you had to stop and think, that you've believed about who you are as an artist? And I mean, it's very probable that you don't even know that these are lies that you believe, because in life, people may say things about you that you've believed as truth, and those lies have made you fall into these four big art myths that are holding you back from your progress. And so, before I share them, I should let you know that I am an aspiring an art instructor who helps once aspiring artists fall in love with drawing again. That aspiring part is done. I mean, we never stop aspiring and growing, but aspire to inspire. Let's say it that way. So the four biggest myths that you've believed are true about you are that you are not talented enough. You can write it here. Four myths. Not talented enough. That you are not experienced enough. That you are not qualified enough. And that you are not passionate enough. So someone or some group of people in your life made you believe that you are not talented enough to be an artist, you're not experienced enough, you're not qualified or passionate. And we'll break these down a little bit more. Believing that you're not talented enough is the lie that you don't have the capability of even getting better, that this is as good as you get. Believing that you're not experienced enough is a lie that experience is what defines an artist. And that leads you to feeling not qualified enough, which is a lie that someone outside of you must approve that you're an artist. And that can make you feel like you are not passionate enough, that you don't love drawing as much as those with better skill than you. And I'm not dismissing artists with incredible skills, but having incredible skills in and of itself is not what makes you an artist. Skill does not equal artist. What is an artist? What does it mean to be an artist? We're going to go deep into that. And I'll actually prove it to you with this word picture. I want you to imagine a little child. And I'll even say my daughter. Her name is Joy. And I think I got something here I can show you. This was one day outside. She was with her mom, my wife, and they got some paintbrush, they got some paint, and what do you know? This is what came out in the end. And this isn't anything really, but she did it anyways. She was just in her zone, playing around, experimenting. And hey, maybe I'm being biased, but I generally admire the way she draws, paints, because she draws the same way. If you were to give her a notebook with a marker or a pencil, you would see her do similar things. And honestly, I admire the way she draws with a level of confidence and freedom. And her joy, no pun intended, comes from her expression rather than how it looks. Now, let me ask you a thought provoking question. Doesn't this little girl remind you of someone that you used to know? Maybe you still know this person. This person looked like you, walks like you, and but like is way, way, way younger than you are today. And if you haven't caught up, I'm talking about you. Take a moment right now to go back to your childhood. Do you remember what that was like? Drawing without a care in the world. Drawing because you love to do it. And I hope you pay attention to that part. Just keep that in your mind as we continue. I also want to explain something. The reason why you haven't felt this way in a long time is because for a long time you've had creativity trained out of you by the education system. Or as my Golden likes to call it, the miseducation system. Because oh my goodness, it's so true. How badly we've been played by the powers that be. And so think about it. Maths, English, physics, those are the ones that are carrying the greatest value that if you fail one of those, you could fail the entire grade. But art, optional at best. And a high grade barely makes up for your final score. And that conditions you to believe that art is not important. So when career choosing time comes, you don't feel like pursuing art is valuable because the purpose the purpose of the current education system we have is not to create thinkers but create workers. And Rockefeller is famous for saying that he does not want thinkers, he wants workers. We have an education system that was birthed in the time of the Industrial Revolution. They wanted to create massive workers. And it still hasn't changed today, which makes absolutely no sense because it doesn't prepare anybody for the world we live in today, how to adapt and how to thrive. See, here's the thing about thinkers. Thinkers are creative. Workers just comply. And if you had a hard time paying attention in school or following along or just getting with the program, desiring to do something else in that time, it's not because you have ADHD or you're not serious. It's because thinkers challenge the status quo. Thinkers desire to understand. Thinkers don't just accept that things are the way they are. Thinkers don't belong in an environment for workers. And while you were thinking before all the indoctrination, you were the most creative because what makes you an artist? This is my biggest point with everything that I'm sharing right now. What makes you an artist is simply the fact that you love to do it. Now, how does that link with the thinking? Because thinking, when you are thinking, that is when you are the most creative. And when you are the most creative, you are the most artistic. Therefore, if you're a thinker, you are naturally an artist. And there's no one that I know that thinks and hates it. There's no one that I know that's creative and hates it. Everyone that I know creates and loves it. Therefore, it is obvious that you're an artist because you love to do it. And whose permission did you need to tell you what you already knew you were? Just from intuition, just from like a practical demonstration of your activities, your interests, right? Someone looks at you and what you're doing and it's obvious that you like to draw. Whose permission did you need then? Do you think you need anyone's permission now? You don't. Like, I'm an art instructor. I help once inspiring artists. You don't need my approval. I'm being mentored by one of the greatest illustrators in the art, like living right now in the art industry. You don't need his approval. You don't need anybody's approval. And now here are the truths that you should replace from these lies that you were once told. The lies that you were led to believe, the lies that you took as truth and yet have nothing to do with who you actually are. And now, you were created for. Maybe I'm gonna use some space here. Yeah, yeah. You were created for these three things. You're created for a lot more, but we'll just make it three. Created for creation. You were created for innovation. and you were created for exploration. And there's so many other ones, but we'll just stick with these three for now. Created for creation, innovation, exploration, and all these require imagination. To be created for creation means that you were created in the image and likeness of a creator. It's one of the most powerful things that I've learned recently about what it says in Genesis. The book opens and says in the beginning God created. That's the first thing that we hear about God. And the law first mentioned states that the very first thing that you hear about a person or a thing is the most important. And so for God to tell us this, from the fact that he's love, aside from the fact that he is good, aside from the fact that he is righteous and holy, the first thing that we learn about God is that he is creative because he created. And then he created us in his image and his likeness. Therefore, we were created in the image and likeness of a creator. Therefore, it's in our nature to create. So I want you to have that in your mind. Creativity is not even about people who are artistic. And this is for people who want to draw, I know. But think with me for a moment that creativity is about problem solving. Creativity is seen in the area of mathematics, sciences. The way we discover things requires curiosity, and curiosity leads to creativity. So all of us are creatives. And I'm just hammering this in because this is a natural part of who you are. Now, the second thing you're created for is innovation. Created to make new out of old things, to do the unseen. You may be someone who's even secretly curious about how to experiment with AI in a way that no artist is currently thinking about. And I understand the concerns that have been raised concerning AI image generation and artists and, you know, job replacements with a tool like this. I'm not knocking those down. I'm not dismissing them. They are valid. People have ethical concerns about the tool. But here's the thing. The tool's not going away, number one. And number two, I honestly believe that artists especially are yet to tap into the full potential of what this tool can do to help them make whatever they never thought possible. And I believe it's the same thing that happened with the computer that introduced digital drawing, which was the same thing that the camera introduced painting, like capturing an image and reference and drawing from that or painting from that. And it's the same thing that introduced the canvas, which is funny to think that having a canvas, just like something that you can draw on, that is separate from a mural at the time when it was murals, that was a disruptor in the economic space of art. And so with every new technology and everything that comes that is through innovation, will always disrupt the market in some way. And while it's been said that AI is disrupting in a way that's never been done before, which is true, I still believe that this is going to challenge artists to think deeper, to go deeper into what does it mean to be an artist. And I believe we're going to be surprised as to how we start to express ourselves artistically with the use of this tool and the ones to come. But that's a beside. Um, Not really, because it's about innovation. And this is the times that we're in. So, third thing, creative for exploration. Even if you're an indoors person, oh my gosh, I just spilled some charcoal on my pants. Nice. Sorry about that. So, as I was saying, even if you're an indoors person like myself, there's a curiosity, a natural curiosity that is inside you that desires the unknown. And whether that's in films, books, comics, series, heck, even ordering from or visiting a different restaurant, there's a level of curiosity that we all have inside of us. And I hope you're seeing that you have a lot of artistic qualities that you are naturally born with, that are active at every moment of your life. They say art imitates life, right? But I would go a step further and say that art expresses life. And all these things require imagination. You need to imagine to create something. You need to imagine to make new things, and you need to imagine what it'd be like to explore new things. And if you've imagined something known, if you have imagined something new, and if you've imagined the unknown, then you're already operating as an artist. And notice how none of the things that make you an artist involve an art degree, they don't involve learning from a professional, they don't involve the level at which you draw, they don't involve social recognition. Like those things play a part in our journey, but should never be thought of as the point or the definition of an artist. And that's why you don't need permission to call yourself an artist, because it's already what you are. I'd love to say that's who you are, but I honestly believe it's just a part of who you are. Your gifts, talents, they help to serve the bigger purpose of what you're doing here. And when you operate in them, you're just one step closer to fulfilling that. And if you still don't know where to go from here with all this truth that's been revealed to you now, I'm about to start my challenge, and it's called the Drawing Comeback Challenge for 5 days that helps you rediscover why you love drawing in the first place and the only things you need to learn to see meaningful results in your work and still enjoy making art. And so, if that interests you, I'm going to leave a link here. Type it in. If you decide that you are done operating like a thinker, sorry, like a worker, and would like to operate like a thinker, then I want you to take this step and this decision for yourself and join the challenge and discover the artist that you knew you were supposed to be. I'm gonna leave a link for YouTube. Where's that chat? Oof, that did not copy the right way. Alright, I'll type it again. Alright, so I put the link in, and I hope to see the thinkers with me as we walk in our artistic identity and purpose. And regardless of what you choose to do from this point onwards, because you're not forced to join this if you don't think that this is who you are. And you would rather just continue living with the lies. What I hope you do from this point is actually choose to believe the truth. I hope this gave you clarity and the permission you've been looking for that was always in your hands. Go out there and make more art, and I will see you on the next one. Until